Hello dear listeners, welcome back to my channel. My name is Selena, I'm a clinical psychologist, so let's get right into it.
I'm this effing close to making an exposing video. Should I? What the F is wrong with people so rude, so self-serving, and inconsiderate? Making some tea, you guys. You won't believe the audacity people have, but I have lots of receipts and audio clips.
This behavior that Nikocado is showing here, where he is making threats or he is trying to scare Stephanie in a way, is really coming from a place of wanting to have control over the situation. And this extreme wish to have control in this situation comes from deep insecurity, from a feeling like nothing is really in their control. And when we are able to modify things to a great extent, the way that other people behave, then it can give us temporary comfort. It is really only a temporary solution for them to soothe that anxiety that they're feeling. But very soon that will reside, and they would need to resort to other behaviors to again feel secure and in control.
Every time he texted me or called me, I feel like I never consented to any audio clips. The only thing I can do is check what I have of security footage. Without letting me know what he was doing, he took multiple pictures inside my house. Seeing that footage was shattering and so angering. I felt like, yes, this is gross. Yes, this is creepy. But really, it's your problem, Steph. And maybe even though Nick knows about your trauma and knows how crazy you are about home security, maybe he doesn't really understand.
Well, it could really be a combination of those two things, right? She might have a heightened sensitivity, but Nikocado might also just be inconsiderate of her and her past. So one doesn't exclude the other. And the combination of those two things can be really damaging.
I'm just gonna insert some clips here because I think when someone shows me a pattern of predatory behavior, I'm not gonna ignore it.
Come on over, we'll hang out, we'll do our stuff, we can mukbang and then do stuff after. You know, it was not about just film with me, it was about like, we're gonna get it on. I put on so much perfume, I wasted it. I wasted $90 perfume. And I made sure I washed my extra good. And they eat all your food and they leave and you're like, I wasted my time and I scrubbed my for this experience, because I was nice enough to say, I'll eat whatever you want to eat. And nothing happened. Waiting to get my action.
So it seems like the way that Nikocado's approaching friendships or relationships is very transactional. In a way, he's calculating what effort he's putting into something and what he's getting back. Now, it's important to consider that this is a YouTube video. He might lie, he might present it to be more dramatic than it actually was, just so it evokes a reaction in the viewer. At the same time, it does look like he's recalling an actual personal story and maybe adding a bit of drama to it to make it more enjoyable. And indeed, paying attention to a person's pattern can make it easier for us to know what to expect with a person. Because when a person engages in behaviors of the same type more often, then indeed it is more likely for them to do it again.
I'm not going to just grab it because you will come back and it's going to be the little Me Too movement. The little Me Too movement. Oh.
How dare you discredit the entire thing that saved so many people because you had a bad date in New York City. You didn't grab it because that's sexual assault if he didn't want you to. In 2017, I posted an Instagram picture of me. Sometimes you gotta be your own damn lifeguard, even if your head is too heavy to float. Hashtag me too. Feeling like I could say something and someone would listen to me, honestly saving me.
Did he cuddle me? Did he try to keep me warm? No, nothing. Oh my God, what a loser.
A very strong sense that I get from Nikocado, especially here, is that he has a very strong facade, and that facade is really a coping mechanism, something that is saving himself from being in touch with the actual pain that he feels deep down. You can tell by the way he speaks, by the way he acts, he's not present, he's not grounded, and he's not in alignment with his core self. On one hand, I do understand what Stephanie is saying, that it can be incredibly insensitive, what he's saying about the Me Too movement. But at the same time, what I see is just someone who's trying to cope, someone who's trying to get attention, because deep down, he's really longing for validation and for acceptance. and he is unfortunately resorting to behaviors that are harmful to people around him. Still, deep down, every human's wish, at least in my perception, is to connect and to be accepted for who they are. And it is less likely for Nikocado to be accepted for the person he is when he's making it so difficult for us to see who he really is. Because I do believe that every person has the potential for good, and sometimes it really takes an understanding attitude and a open and soft approach to show the other person, I don't deem you as completely evil. I can see that you have some good in you too. And when we acknowledge that good in the other person, that can really open them up and reduce these coping strategies, and in this case, the entitlement. So it would be interesting. Of course, I doubt that I would ever have this opportunity, but to talk to Nikocado and really openly show that you're curious and hearing about him and what he has went through, because everyone wants to be understood. If I was approached with that attitude by him or by anyone else, that would probably make me more likely to be that open and receptive to him as well. And why wouldn't it be the case for him?
I felt like I needed to have a reason. And I didn't. And so I stayed and I tried to make him less angry and not mad at me.
I'm really tired. I should have gone home earlier. I mean, you didn't really value the time spent.
That means he wasn't having a good time. Wasted my time, mother.
Maybe he wasn't having a good time because I wasn't having a good time. There's just been a lot of online bullying, and I've been through high school bullying. First, I felt, again, like more shame and embarrassment because a lot of the people that he tagged are people that he knew that I would say, oh my god, I've watched her since high school. If I say something, it's not just going up against Nick, but look at all the friends he has. You know, who do I have?
Yeah, it's really quite sad that this subject in particular hits so deep, because she has went through bullying in high school, so I can imagine that it would be even more hurtful to go through something similar. And when I'm trying to understand this from Nikocado's perspective, there is again some triangulation that is taking place. He's trying to get other people on his side just so he can feel accepted again for the opinion that he has, and that so he can feel like he belongs. Now, this is obviously at the expense of Stephanie, so he is harming someone else by doing that. It's not necessary at all to do this. Even if they both have a misunderstanding or a falling out, all these extra behaviors, they can really add fuel to the fire, and they can really further damage someone. His empathy for that person reduces, which is not too uncommon. I'm guessing that you might have experienced something like that as well, that when someone mistreated you or you really felt wronged, that you in a way felt like they deserve to get the same treatment back. I think it's a pretty normal and natural response in a way, but of course that's not a solution. If we always respond with an antagonistic attitude, we will never resolve the situation actually. And again, true resolution comes through understanding and open dialogue and through compassion.
There was just a lot that broke my spirits. And I was telling them the story, and one of the inside joke from that story was in and out of sleep. And you don't understand, but then I told a few other YouTubers, I tagged them on Instagram. The major thing that they take away from that was the in and out of sleep.
I've just been in and out of sleep, and I don't know what's going on, but you know, I got things to do. I got things to do. Have you been in and out of sleep?
I'm in and out of sleep. Oh my gosh. In and out of sleep right now.
Making a joke out of a situation that has been frustrating for Nikocado, again, can give him this temporary boost in confidence and this temporary sense that he's actually in control, because he's using something that was hurtful for him, that made him feel rejected, and he's in a way turning it around, using it against her. And this again speaks to his defensive structure that comes from deep insecurity that he's just so separated from.
In and out of sleep, we turned something that really bothered me into something that we can laugh about. It's just you have to laugh about things to get over things. It's just what I believe. So it's all like 12 of us, we're all sitting together and we're like, in and out of sleep. And then the people around us, in and out of sleep, in and out of sleep.
In and out, in and out, in and out.
Most of the times the bully will say it's a joke. And sometimes I can see where they're coming from. But what was the purpose of posting it onto his Instagram? I don't think that anyone who didn't understand the story would find it that funny. Oh, in and out of sleep, like maybe food coma? I truly think that the only reason he posted it was for me to see it.
I do agree with Stephanie here that these additional steps that he's taking to make such things public really speaks for resentment that he's feeling. And where does resentment come from? It comes from a feeling of rejection and hurt again. And how they're coping with it is that they feel angry that a person would reject them in the first place. So they feel like they want to give them back the same kind of hurt that they experienced. So resentment really shows that something actually hits us very deeply, maybe deep in a way that we don't even want to acknowledge. What I also see with some resentful people is that they will say, I don't care, it doesn't matter anyways, whereas actually they're experiencing a lot of hurt, and because of that they're feeling resentful.
Prior to this, I felt like I had caused this, but there's actually a lot of people who feel this way, and it's an actual thing that manipulators use, and the victim, they either don't notice it or they feel like they're at fault. One of the things that really stood out was the word audacity. You won't believe the audacity people have, but I have lots of receipts and audio clips. The definition of audacity means rude or disrespectful behavior. I know that Nick is really offended because I was being really rude and self-serving, and I had the audacity to do a lot of things, and I just want to apologize that I had the audacity to say no to you, and I'm sorry that I had the audacity to make you feel like I changed my mind.
Especially with defensive structures in which a person might feel entitled and superior to someone else, we can see projection taking place, and projection means that you will attribute qualities that you see in yourself to other people and accuse them of having those attributes. Now, I'm not sure if this is what is happening here with Nikocado, but it might be the case that he deep down knows that he has the audacity and that he should be ashamed of what he's doing. And in a way, his coping mechanism then would be that he would attribute that behavior to Stephanie just so he can feel better about himself. And he might actually be that disconnected from his actual emotions that he might truly feel like Stephanie has the audacity. So in a way, that is his reality, whereas Stephanie's reality would be different, of course.
Just because you say yes doesn't mean you're saying yes to everything for the rest of forever. That's incredibly predatory and manipulative. What was the purpose of all of this? To hurt Veronica? To hurt me? To get your dick sucked?
I'm gonna get sucked, you know?
This is my side of the story. I have nothing else more to say. I just want to say thank you so much for giving me a platform and giving me a way to reach you guys. I hope making this video not only clarified things for you guys, but also if any of you guys feel this way or have felt this way before, then I just want to say it's not your audacity. It's actually just your basic human fundamental rights to say no.
Okay, wow, so that concludes Stephanie's video. I do have some afterthoughts that I would want to share. So I think in this situation, it might be easier for a viewer to villainize Nikocado. And I do understand that if that would happen, because in a way, we see a lot of qualities, according to Stephanie's narrative, that would be harmful to people around them. And I think most humans have an aversion to that kind of harmful behavior from one person to another. I think because of evolution and socialization, we tend to not want to see that type of behavior. So I understand that it would be natural and human to, in a way, see Nikocado quite negatively, and in response to that, portray Stephanie in a very good light. I do, however, think that it's important not to think in these extreme ways, not to put people in these very predefined and solid categories like bad and good, because in a way, if we have enough information about a person's upbringing, about their environment, all the things that they have endured that they might not even talk about, then I think that usually allows us to be a bit more compassionate to why they would be the way they are. And I think every person's behavior really is understandable if we have that information. Now, it does become difficult when another person is harmed by it. And it's difficult to say, right? Like how much of that harm is really caused by Nikocado or whoever it is that is being put in that position. It's difficult to say, okay, she's feeling this way because of Nikocado. Because again, for Stephanie to be so sensitive towards his behavior, she has endured other things. If she wouldn't have had endured those things, then maybe her response would have been different. And I'm not saying that to excuse Nikocado's behavior, but I'm just saying that with a different set of characteristics in Stephanie or with a different person, it might not have ended this way. So again, I think it's important to try to be open and mindful that we're still talking about humans who have emotions, although it might be difficult for us to feel empathetic towards someone who seemingly does not show a lot of empathy to other people. Again, this is quite understandable. I understand that human reaction that if someone else is behaving in very unempathetic and very inconsiderate ways, that we wouldn't feel like we want to give all of that to them. But really the solution towards healing would be that. And it is difficult to do that, but we can really be an example and we can lead the way by trying to stay open-minded and by not making conclusions too quickly, that we understand that every person has their own story and that we can still stand up for ourselves and say no whenever we feel like we're being harmed without giving up our capacity for compassion and understanding even towards that person. But it is up to every individual if they want to feel compassionate towards someone else that they deem as harmful. I personally am not expecting that of anyone. I think every person has a right. And again, this is just a little reminder, at least from my side, that we shouldn't idolize or demonize people because everyone is more nuanced than that. We might have some information on one person and have a very solid, or at least feel like we have a very solid idea of how they are. We might be exposed to other information and then completely change our mind. So if we stay mindful of that, if we always leave room for exploration and for criticism, for self-criticism, then I think we will be on the safe side because we would try to see reality as clearly as possible. So just like with the other video, I am very curious what you have to say about it. I understand that there can be quite heavy emotions associated with the situation, especially if we project our own experiences onto Stephanie and Nikocado, because most people have had persons that resemble Nikocado or Stephanie in their life. Maybe we identify with Stephanie more in this situation, which makes it easier to villainize Nick again. Or maybe we have a lot of compassion for Nick and we demonize Stephanie. So let's just try to stay a bit mindful of that. If we're identifying with one person and as a result of that just judging the other person unfairly. But there's always room for different opinions and I'm very curious to hear what you have to say about it. If you found this video interesting or insightful, I'd really appreciate if you could leave a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this one. Also let me know what I should react to in the next video, and again, feel free to share your opinion in the comment section. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching and I will see you in the next one. Take care.